Entourage? Welcome, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you don't mind that I decided to switch it up. Do something I'm very familiar with, and that is DFS. Let's get into it. The fantasy football Entourage for winning. So this was actually an idea brought to me by one of you guys. Quite a few of you actually have been asking for some DFS content. I think I'm going to start doing more of that. If that's okay with you guys. If you guys like DFS, if you like betting, I'm really getting into betting. I mentioned to you guys, I've been on fire. I did the math, and the last 4 weeks, I have a win percentage of 67%. If you don't include the tie, I have a winning percentage of almost 70%, which is absolutely unheard of in this industry. There's people charging $100 to $1,000 a pick. If you're Vegas Dave, who claims he never loses, I don't know about that. But so it's a really good opportunity if you're into betting to make some money. We're absolutely on fire. So I'm really getting into more and more this, and you guys seem to like it. So yeah, let's see how today goes. I feel really good about these games. I did quite a bit of research on these. And let's start with the quarterback position here on DraftKings. There's only 2 games, obviously. The Baltimore and the Pittsburgh Steelers game got postponed. By the way, if you are interested in the bets, leave a comment, email me, DM me, fantasyfootballrapper on Instagram. My email is fantasyfootballrapper@gmail.com. I also have an affiliate with Monkey Knife. If you want to join using the promo code RAPPER and you make your first deposit, I'll also include my bets for free. DFS is separate. The weekly bets are $10. Last week I'm doing it for that. DFS is $20. And then if you do the DFS though, I'll include the weekly bet. So it's really good deals, guys. You got to go with Desean Watson against Detroit. You know what I'm saying? They have no running game, so obviously they have to pass. There's a couple of injuries this game, though. Randall Cobb is out, as well as Kenny Stills. So there's actually a couple of receivers. That's why I'm mentioning that. A couple sleepers. So anyway, let's stick with the quarterbacks here. Outside Deshaun Watson, I mean, can we trust Stafford? He's got a hurt finger or something like that. You know, he's probably my second favorite quarterback. It is a good price at $5,800, but considering the budget that we have, I don't really think we need to go cheap on quarterback per se. Now, going to the running backs, there's quite a few that I like here as well. And you got Elliott, 6,800. Washington's been pretty good, as you see. They're 8th best against running backs, but we got to throw all of that out the water for a couple of reasons. It's Thanksgiving. Big players do big things. Dallas is at home, and it's a short week. So I still like Zeke. I like the fact that he caught a receiving touchdown last week. They've been using him more in the passing game like they said they would. And 6,800, I still think it's a great value. He's only $300 more than DeAndre Swift. Now, DeAndre Swift has a better matchup. I expect him to get a ton of work, particularly that Kenny Galladay is out. So a lot of injuries that Detroit and Houston game. Kenny Galladay's out. Danny Amendola's also out. So, you know, DeAndre Swift should be quite involved, especially Houston's terrible against running backs, and he's also a pass catcher. So I love DeAndre Swift. Also, Antonio Gibson. Now, I think there's a little more risk in Antonio Gibson, and I know he had that huge game against Dallas, but just like you and I know he had that huge game against Dallas, I'm sure Dallas also knows he had that big game against them, and they're going to be focused more on stopping the run. But again, it's Dallas. They're still suspect. It's still a short week, so Antonio Gibson is still a good play at 6,000. McKissick's okay, but considering the fact, how much is McKissick? 5,100. I mean, considering that you could get these other guys for 6,800, 6,500, 6,000. I think they have way more upside. So I like those 3 running backs. You could start 2, maybe flex 1, something like that. And then moving over to receivers, I mean, you got to start Terry McFlarlin. The over-under is kind of low. It's scary. It's scary. This is one I had a hard time. I actually didn't include this in my bets. I just stayed away because I feel like it could go either way. 46 is pretty low. It could be a sloppy game. It's Thanksgiving. And I believe the over has gone over in Dallas like 5 straight games or something. But it's still scary because last game was 25-3, so obviously went under. Washington's defense, it's hit or miss. It could be good. And then, Andy Dalton. Can we really trust Andy Dalton to put up points? But again, the reason I stay away is because Thursday, you got to throw all that stuff out the window when it comes to these Thursday games on a short week. People are thinking about Christmas and Thanksgiving and the holidays and eating turkey. So I believe if I had to lean one way, it could go over. But either way, Terry McFlarlin, he's going to get targets. And it's Dallas. I mean, they're horrible against the secondary. He's done a lot more with he's done a lot with a lot harder defenses. So Terry McFlarlin's my kind of must there. Even at 7,000. Again, we got plenty of money to spend. Will Fuller, this is where it gets kind of weird. Like, is it going to be Will Fuller? Is it going to be Brandon Cooks? One sleeper guy I like a lot, because I mentioned Randall Cobb is out, is Kiki Cutie, because he's so cheap. So, you could get a bunch of high price guys and then follow up with a Kiki Cutie. You know what I'm saying? So I do like him at 3,400. Another guy I like that's super cheap is Michael Gallup. Now you see here that Washington's been pretty good, allegedly against receivers, but I think it's a little misleading. While they've been pretty good, they've also been really, really suspect against the deep pass. Okay, now CeeDee Lamb, he's the one I'm avoiding. He has the toughest matchup against Jimmy Moreland, so I'm not starting CeeDee Lamb. Cooper's going to be Cooper. He's going to probably lead the team in targets. He's the safest bet. But if you want that dart, remember, in DFS, there's always that player that comes out of the blue, hence a Kiki Cutie, or in this case, a Michael Gallup. Since he's Dallas' deep threat, I like Michael Gallup for the price, and he's due. He's still a great talent, so fortunate that he's on a team that has, a lot of receivers, but he's a good player, and this matchup is particularly good for Michael Gallup if you need that one spot where you want to save some money. What else stands out? Another deep play is this guy, Cephas. So I mentioned Amendola's out, and again, DFS is all about the unpredictables. So what you want to do is you want to stack your important players. Those guys, like, you want to stack your Terry McFlarlin, your Zeke, your DeAndre Swift, pretty much DeAndre Swift, Desean Watson, and Terry McFlarlin. Those are my 3 players that should be in every lineup. And then the rest you got to finagle with. You know what I'm saying? So after you spend your money on those, and then maybe, you pair that up with a Zeke or an Antonio Gibson or both. Depends if you want to do the 3 running backs or you want to go with, like, a 3-headed monster at receiver. Like, you get Terry, you get Cooper, you get Brandon Cooks or Will Fuller, something like that. Or not both, but you know what I'm saying. You get a 3-headed monster at receiver, and then you want to go cheap flex, right? That cheap flex could either be then Kiki Cutie, Michael Gallup, or Cephas. Those are your sleeper plays. I bet you at least one of them pops off. Okay? And then if you go the other route, if you go the 3-headed monster at running back, which means you go Zeke, Gibson, and Swift, and then you go, 2 big receivers. I don't know if you'll be able to do this, but you guys can figure it out. Then you got to get that cheap player. You know what I'm saying? That cheap player will be your 3rd receiver, the 3 guys that I mentioned. You know what I'm saying? If you pair them up, let's say you go Terry McFlarlin, Cooper, and then one of the cheap guys. And then flex, we kind of already went over. Tight end. I think you got to go Hawk for the price. Hawk, or I like Schultz a lot. So depending on what you guys do, with your lineups, how much you spend at the skill position, then, will determine whether you spend a little more on Hawk at 4,700 or Schultz at 3,800. You know what? Logan Thomas is actually a good play too at 3,500. Some people will say Atkins. I'm not with that. So I think either any one of those tight ends. Thomas has been pretty consistent as far as targets go, so he could be a sneaky play as well. And then flex, we already kind of went over what the game plan would be with that. And then let me see how much. 35. All right. So then the defense. This is where it's like, is there going to be any defense? Short week. All four of these defenses are pretty bad. I guess Washington's the best, but I don't know if they're like 3,700, especially if you want to stack up on the other positions, being that they're on a short week, on the road, I don't know about all that. Maybe Dallas would be kind of cool at 2,800 since they are home, and Alex Smith, I could see them getting a couple of sacks, and Washington's offense is definitely nothing to write home about. So Dallas defense, if you want to spend a little more on Washington, cool, but I don't see them, I don't know. I don't see them being a defense that's going to get a pick six or something like that. They're not that great, especially on the short week. So I think Dallas being at home and going against a subpar offense would be my favorite there. But yeah, I get it. If you want to go Washington, they are, if all things were equal, I would say Washington. But for the value, I would say Dallas. All right. And yeah, there you guys have it. My DFS. I hope this helps. I hope you guys win lots of money. Wish you lots of success and a strong finish to the new year. We have a lot to be grateful for, especially since this 2020 has been, absolutely chaotic. I appreciate all your support. I'm so grateful that we were able to have an NFL season and that I get to be with you guys one more time. So God bless. Love you guys. Until next time. Peace.